Welcome to Honest Whispers Preview to Sale. On this video I'll be previewing ArtFX Wonder Woman 1/6 Scale Pre-Painted PVC Statue. It was released by Kotobukiya back in December 17th, 2014. This figure, or this statue rather, is actually approximately 11 inches tall. She is a little elevated off the box. And they did pack a Wonder Woman logo base, but it's on the back. Let me see if I can get the focus on it. There, well, there's the tip of the yellow Wonder Woman base. So with the base, it's probably about 12 inches tall. The designer, it's based on the art by Jim Lee, so the designer is credited to Jim Lee. The sculptor for this statue is Kouei Matsumoto. And the painter is actually credited, although it's not a person, but rather it says Franken. So I don't know if it's a one-name person or if it's actually a company. Most likely it's done by a company called Franken, which is actually credited on the bottom of the box. So I'm gonna go over 6 different categories to preview this. And I do say preview because this box is still factory sealed. So ever since I bought it, pretty much kept it nicely packaged and stored in storage. First category is design, which basically goes over the concept and the pose. And this is one of the 3 characters that they produced for this line. They also did produce Superman for tomorrow and Batman black costume. So you can display them together if you have the complete set, or if you have just a couple, then you could display the 2 together, depending on which 2. It really doesn't matter. They do go nice alone or as a set. Also, the pose, you can see it's kind of one of those simple poses. It's like a standing, but then the more you look at it, the more complex and unique it is. For instance, she is grabbing her cape with both her hands, and they did sculpt out her back and the back of the skirt and everything. So it's not like this cape is just molded like a humpback on her. So that's very well done. Let's see, and at the same time you got her left leg kind of bent, so it does add a bit of a sex appeal. But at the same time, rather than just standing, actually it even has like she's walking, so it has a walking effect, or sort of dynamic to it. So because with the way the cape is flowing and everything, definitely has a lot of I say, like action to it, even though she's more like just standing. Even the way the skirt is flowing to her right. And I believe this is a scene from the Superman what is it, the the regular series Superman that Jim Lee drew. That arc, I believe, in the story, she is walking in the snow, from my recollection. So basically, this probably might be the same image where she's actually walking. So it does have a nice pose, design, and concept to it. And as I mentioned, there is a base with her logo or insignia. So definitely nice touch. Pretty much everything, you know, they crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. So I give the design a perfect 10 out of 10. Next category is sculpting, which basically covers the execution, the details, and of course the quality of the molding. And as you can see, everything from the hair, her face, head, literally head to toe. I mean, her neck, you could see a lot of definition on her neck, and then of course the cape, as I mentioned, really hard to see, but then the way it flows, like her skirt, it has a very natural flow to it. Her breastplate, definitely pretty much, you know, everything symmetrical down, you know, perfectly done. Matches the artwork. The boots, you can see a lot of wrinkles in certain areas right there. Adds realism to it, like she's really wearing leather boots. Can't really see the fingers, but then the thumbs, all proportional, nicely done. And where she's kind of grasping the cape, there's like extra little wrinkles, so like it kind of shapes out her fingers a bit too, so it really adds a realistic touch to it, or definitely made it, executed down like perfectly, because even the way she looks does resemble the artwork that Jim Lee drew. And I changed the angle to get a little bit of better lighting, just to show you the clear details. Definitely looks like certain parts have been assembled separately, or molded separately, and then painted separately, and then basically assembled. Even the face, the structure, the proportions, her breast, it's everything. Thighs, it's not too muscular, but you do see some good muscle definition. Now there was, if you could get an extreme close up. Look at the lips. Now on that chin there is like an indented line, so that's kind of, it's very minor. Like it took, I mean, I have to use kind of like the light and shadow right here to kind of get that. Otherwise, if I start tilting it, and when there's no light and shadow, it's virtually gone. You can't really see it. So it's very small, minor imperfection, but yeah, that's usually with the molding or the cast itself. I just have to point that out, at least from what I can see. Now, other areas seem to be done pretty well. I did try to look closer to where the cape was, where she's grabbing the cape, but unfortunately really can't see any flaws or anything like that. So due to that minor little flaw, because I do remember seeing a small little like a little small bump on the right side of her nose. Let me see if I can get a good, probably even harder to see or capture on camera. Yeah, that's, well, it's very small, but it is a small little bump. I would say kind of like a little, almost like a little pimple. No, even smaller than that. It's just a little dot, really. Nothing much else. Now the eye, on the eye area, he did sculpt like this line, which kind of works, but then at the same time it almost makes it look like the imprinting or the paint job is a little off. But other than that, it's near perfect. I give the sculpting score a 9 out of 10. Next category is painting. Basically covers the colors, accuracy, quality of the colors or the paint, and of course the application, how well it's done. As you can see from before, the eyes pretty much perfectly done. It is an imprinting technique, but there are some hand painting done as well. For instance, that red star, very nicely done. The eyebrows, it doesn't bleed into anywhere, so like that's just nicely done, and it's symmetrical. I did mention that little eye part. Now there's, as you can see, the bottom of her eye, there's a little bit of space between the indented line, and as you can see, but on the top it aligns pretty much perfectly. If it goes any higher, I mean, it would make more of a noticeable area. So it's probably intentional. That's why I like to make up her eyeliner. There's no eye line on the bottom, but either way, it's nothing you could really notice. It's just something I was just looking really close at. The lips, you could see that the lip color is not the same red as the star on her tiara, so it has a bit of a gloss effect, a little shinier. I like that better, rather than a company that just uses the same red for anywhere that's red on her costume or face. As you can see, the red on her costume and cape are consistent, has more of a matte finish. The gold, it's not glossy, but it does have a bit of a shine to it, so it kind of has this, I don't know if they use a certain type of special gold, but even on a costume, at least the red part, you could see a little bit of black, like touch up of black, a tone of black in certain areas to create this dark shadow effect. Nicely airbrushed. More imprinting on the skirt, and on the boots you could tell there is some edges. You could see some paint that's running over the border or bleeding over the border, especially the white right there on the right boot. And at the same time, if you look even closer, there is some little red on the middle of the white line, like little red dots or a very small line. You could see here on the left foot, on the outside edge, there is some white bleeding into the red, especially on the middle part. It almost looks like a little line. But those you have to look really closely, otherwise you can't see any, yeah, it almost looks perfect. So those are very minor issues, and I just want to get a little bit of a better look. And as you can see, that base is pretty big too. So that base itself is about like almost 10, 12 inches wide. So the painting, it's near perfect. I mean, you really have to look really up close to see any type of imperfections. Otherwise, all the lines very solid, very clean, straight, not much bleeding over the borders, like even right here on her chest plate. So for the painting score, I give it, let's see, I give the painting score a high 9 out of 10. Next category is packaging, and packaging for the design. As you can see, it is a nice window box packaging. You do have a very nice large window. You could pretty much see anywhere on the front. Of course, you can't really see the base. And the design is very nice. All sides are different. Top, you have a very nice little star with some windows cut out. Very cool design on that. The right side, you have more little mini windows. You have 4 small windows in the shape of stars, and they get from small to big as they go up. A nice medium shot or a closer shot of Wonder Woman statue. Back, you have some nice details, and these are the other characters that I mentioned: the Superman for tomorrow, Batman, black costume. So it shows you examples of that. Close-up areas like the lasso, it's like a fabric lasso, so that's kind of cool, and showing that example, and you get a nice full picture of the statue itself without the base. And of course, a lot of details about Wonder Woman, Jim Lee's art, and even the other 2 statues and the sculptor himself. And as I mentioned or showed briefly earlier, you have all the little copyright stuff, fine print, barcode, everything on the bottom. It's nicely packaged. And of course, on the left window, or basically the right window from the box's perception, you get the nice Jim Lee artwork. Of course, this isn't the artwork that the statue is based on. If they did one of this, that would be very nice. That would be cool. But it's still a nice little design, just to have the Series 3 Wonder Woman logo and even the artwork itself, which is probably one of the more popular Wonder Woman art that Jim Lee did. They made shirts out of this, and this is actually from a cover of Trinity, the first Trinity series, which I believe is like he did a cover for Superman and Batman, and if you line them up together, you make this long, nice poster. So the packaging, very creative design, nicely done. Can't get any really better than this. Every side is unique. I give the packaging score a 10 out of 10. Next category is value. Value basically is retail or cost versus quality, and of course retail versus aftermarket value. And for this is little less than 4 years old, and already the value is pretty good. This one retailed around like $100. I remember I bought this at a convention because I was looking for like the perfect condition box, so I was pretty picky. So paid around one basically about 100. I did a bundle deal and pretty much got it was listed at 110 or 120, so I either paid 100 or 110. I know I got at least $10 off. Right now the value is pretty good for something that's only 4 years old. And as far as the supply, there isn't too many, like you don't get this whole page of the statue listed over and over. And the lowest I've seen for used, like either on eBay or Amazon, and that was around $98, $95, $98. Like with shipping it was around 98, still bidding. And then of course or around up to 110 on a used one. For a new one, average is around 170 on eBay, and Amazon average is around 180, but you see many that's listed around 200. So I guess 200 would be more average, because I've seen many that's listed at 200, and with the shipping added you're looking at like 220, 225. So pretty good aftermarket value. I've seen the lowest one for a new one, I don't know how the box condition is, at 165. For me, this box condition is pretty much a C9 grade. I mean, it's literally near mint. The only thing it really has that I noticed was this little, it's not even like a, it's kind of like a ding, I guess. It's not a dent or a crease or anything like that. It's kind of scuffed, a little bit like a scuffing, or even peeling on the edge, but very small, as you can see. And other than that, maybe some like very minor scuffing that I probably can't even get on the camera or photos. So basically near mint. You can see how clear the windows are with no scratches or scuffing. All the corners are sharp, no edges are dulled out or peeled or anything. So for me, I would definitely try to sell on the quality of the box itself. If not, this is definitely something that will continue to go up in value because of the high quality, the uniqueness, and as I mentioned many times, it's just, there is, well, not many times, I did just mention once that there isn't too much on the supply. So I don't know how many they produced. It isn't numbered, but definitely something that is limited. So I could see this value continue to rise. So I give the grade on the value a good solid 8 out of 10. Final category is overall, and that basically just accumulates the 5 prior categories: design, sculpting, painting, packaging, and value. And for me, I like this a lot. The quality is awesome, and as I mentioned, the pose, the way she's kind of walking, or you could even, you know, pretend she's just standing, or just about to strike that, I guess, pose, or whatever the case. I mean, there's so many things, or so many ways you could interpret this pose right now. So I do like that factor. This is displayable in maybe just a few different angles. Due to the cape, you can't really see anything behind her. And for me, I'm more of a traditionalist, so even though this is nicely done, I particularly don't like it when her costume is somewhat different, like whether she's wearing a cape or she has a skirt rather than her star-spangled shorts. So for me, that's just a personal thing, but to be unbiased and honest and grade it as is, I like this a lot. The quality is high. What you get, even when you hold the box, it has a pretty nice weight to it for a PVC statue. Good size as well, so you get a pretty much a full-size statue, 12 inches or 1/6 scale. So overall, I give the grade a 9 out of 10. So to recap: design 10 out of 10, sculpting 9 out of 10, painting 9 out of 10, packaging 10 out of 10, value 8 out of 10, and overall 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Until next time, say your prayers and eat your vitamins.